Before you click away, do me one favor. Subscribe, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story. It's a warning. And if you ever find yourself near the boundary waters in northern Minnesota during winter, you're going to wish you'd listened. My name is Sergeant Marcus Hale, Minnesota Army National Guard, 2nd Battalion, 136th Infantry. What I'm recording right now is not authorized. It will never be filed. If they find this, it'll be classified, buried, or burned. But I need someone to know what happened out there. I need you to understand that some places on this earth are marked for a reason, and some hungers never die. It was January 14th, 2024. Temperature, minus 18 Fahrenheit. Wind chill, minus 35. We got the call at 0400 hours. Search and rescue operation. Remote location, team of 4. Standard winter SAR protocol. The briefing was thin. A research group from the University of Minnesota had gone dark 72 hours prior. They were studying ecological behavioral patterns in the Boundary Waters Canoe Area wilderness. Last known position was transmitted via satellite beacon. Then nothing. No distress call. No emergency signal. Just silence. I was team leader. My squad, Corporal Ethan Rivera, Specialist Avon Gwynn, and Private First Class Jordan Cross. Good soldiers. Experienced. Rivera had 2 deployments overseas. Gwynn was a combat medic with more field hours than most captains. Cross was young, but sharp, eagle-eyed, and fast. We loaded into a Black Hawk just after dawn. The sky was the color of old bone. I remember looking down as we flew north, watching the landscape change. Highways became dirt roads. Towns became clusters of smoke. Then the trees swallowed everything. Endless miles of white and black. Snow and pine, frozen lakes like mirrors, rivers locked in ice. The pilot's voice crackled in my headset. LZ is 2 clicks south of the researchers last known. Ground's 2 unstable closer in. You'll hoof it from there. Copy, I said. Rivera leaned toward me, his breath fogging inside his balaclava. You read the local reports? What reports? He pulled a printout from his jacket. Incident logs. Old ones. His glove traced a line of text. Disappearances. Dozens of them. Going back 100 years. Hunters, campers, hikers. They all went missing in the same area. Boundary Waters is huge, I said. People get lost. Not like this. His eyes stayed on me. They found some bodies. What was left of them? Gwynn glanced over, her jaw tight. What do you mean, what was left? Rivera didn't answer. Cross stared out the window, his rifle across his lap. Locals call it the starving grounds, he said quietly. The helicopter blades chopped the air. I felt the cold seeping through the fuselage. We hit the ground at 0730. The rotors kicked up a storm of snow and ice. The moment we stepped off, the Black Hawk lifted and banked south. The sound faded fast. Then it was just wind and silence. The kind of silence that isn't peaceful. It's absence. No birds. No animals. Not even the creak of branches. Just the snow falling. Soft. Endless. Rivera checked his GPS. Beacons northeast. 3.2 clicks. I shouldered my pack. Let's move. We traveled in a staggered column. 10 meters between each soldier. The snow was knee-deep in places, and the cold gnawed through every layer. My breath crystallized in front of my face. Ice formed on my beard within minutes. The forest felt wrong. I've been in a lot of wilderness. Trained in Alaska, deployed to mountain regions overseas. I know how nature sounds. But this was different. The trees were too still. The snow muffled everything, but it was more than that. It was like the forest was holding its breath. Cross stopped suddenly. Sarge. I moved up beside him. He was staring at a tree, a massive white pine, its bark scarred and blackened. Symbols had been carved into it. Crude, jagged lines forming shapes I didn't recognize. What the hell is that? Gwynn whispered. I stepped closer. The carvings were old, decades, maybe longer, but they'd been maintained. Someone had come back, again and again, recutting the lines so they wouldn't fade. Warnings. Rivera said, I've seen markings like this before. Indigenous. They use them to mark taboo ground. Taboo how? Cross asked. Rivera's eyes stayed on the tree. Places you don't go. Places where something lives. I keyed my radio. Command! This is Halo 1. We've reached the outer perimeter. Marking possible cultural site. Continuing to objective. Over. Static. I tried again. Command, you copy? Nothing. Gwen checked her radio. I've got nothing. No signal. We're in a valley, I said. Terrain's blocking transmission. We'll get signal higher up. But I didn't believe it. And neither did they. We found the first body an hour later. It was half buried in snow, slumped against a boulder. Male, mid-30s, wearing a university parka. His face was blue, eyes frozen open. Gwen knelt beside him, checking vitals out of procedure. She didn't need to. He's been dead at least 48 hours. I scanned the area. Any wounds? She pulled back his coat. Her hand stopped. Jesus. His chest had been opened. Not cut, torn. The ribs were splintered outward. Sternum cracked clean in half. The cavity was empty. Everything, heart, lungs, organs, gone. But there was no blood. The wound was clean. Frozen. Surgical. Cross turned away, his breath coming fast. Rivera crouched down, his face grim. What kind of animal does this? Gwen looked up at me. No animal. This was precise. I stood, scanning the tree line. The forest watched us. I could feel it. We keep moving, I said. Mark the location. Command will send a recovery team. Sarge, Cross said. His voice was tight. Should we even be here? I met his eyes. We have a mission. He nodded, but I saw the fear in his face. We all felt it. The GPS led us deeper. The trees grew taller, thicker. Their branches twisted together overhead, blocking out the sky. The light turned gray, then dim. Snow fell for the canopy in slow drifts, soundless and heavy. Then we heard it, a voice, distant, faint, calling for help. Rivera froze, his rifle coming up. Did you? Yeah, I said. The voice came again. A woman's voice. Help, please, someone. Gwen stepped forward. That's when the researchers. Hold position. I ordered. The voice drifted through the trees, directionless. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Help me, I'm hurt, please. Cross's finger hovered over his trigger. Where is she? The voice grew louder, closer. Please don't leave me. Then I heard it, the sound beneath the voice. A wet, clicking noise, like joints popping, cartilage snapping. Stop, I said. The voice came from directly ahead now, maybe 30 meters out, but I couldn't see anyone. Please, help. Rivera's breath was shallow. That's not human. The voice changed. It deepened. Help me, I'm so hungry. Then it laughed. Not a human laugh. A sound like bone scraping bone. And the trees moved. No, not the trees. Something between them. Tall. Impossibly tall. Its limbs were too long, bent at angles that shouldn't exist. Its skin was gray, stretched tight over a frame of jagged bone. Its head tilted, neck cracking with each motion. And its eyes. Yellow. Empty. Starving. It opened its mouth and screamed. Yendi Part 1, 1,021 words. Part 2. The sound hit like a shockwave. Not loud. Worse. It burrowed into my skull, vibrating through my teeth, down my spine. A high-pitched wail layered over something low and grinding, like metal tearing. Cross fired first. 3-round burst. Center mass. The rounds hit. I saw the impacts, flesh jerking, dark fluid spraying. But it didn't stop. It lunged, faster than anything that size should move. Scatter. I shouted. We broke formation. Rivera went left and Gwen right. I grabbed Cross and pulled him behind a fallen log as the thing crashed through the space we just occupied. Its claws, long, curved, blackened, raked the snow, throwing up frozen earth. It stopped, turned. Its head swiveled, joints cracking with each movement. The sound was rhythmic, deliberate. Crack, crack, crack. It was listening. I pressed Cross flat, my hand over his mouth. His eyes were wide. Breath coming in panic burst through his nose. The creature moved between the trees, hunched low, its spine arched like a predator. Its limbs bent backward, then forward, then backward again, wrong, unnatural, like something piloting a body it didn't understand. Rivera's voice crackled in my ear. "What the hell is that?" I didn't answer. The creature stopped 10 meters away. Its head tilted. Then it smiled. Not a human smile. Its mouth split too wide, skin tearing at the corners. Teeth, too many teeth, jutted out at jagged angles, yellow and cracked. It spoke. "So hungry." The voice was a chorus. Multiple voices layered over each other. Men, women, children. Then it screamed again and bolted into the trees. Gone. I keyed my radio. Regroup. Northwest. Now. We moved fast, low, weapons up. When we came together, Gwen was pale, her hands shaking. What was that? What the hell was that? I don't know, I said. Rivera ejected his magazine, checked the rounds, slapped it back in. I hit it 3 times. It didn't even slow down. Cross was breathing hard, his voice cracking. It was playing with us. I scanned the forest. The trees were still again, silent, waiting. "We need to reach the beacon," I said. "Find the others. Get out." "Sarge," Gwen said. "That thing is between us and the LZ. Then we go around." "And if there's more than one?" I looked at her. "Then we move fast." We pressed northeast, off the trail now, cutting through dense underbrush. The forest grew darker. The canopy above was so thick that the snow barely reached us. The ground was frozen mud and exposed roots. The GPS put the beacon half a click ahead, but the terrain was wrong. The trees here were different, twisted, bent inward, forming shapes that looked almost intentional. Their trunks were scarred with deep gouges, claw marks, maybe, or something worse. And there were bones, scattered among the roots, small at first, rodents, birds, then larger, deer, elk, human. Cross stopped in front of a ribcage half buried in the snow. It was massive, too large for any animal I'd seen. The bones were cracked, splintered, hollow. "They fed here," Rivera said quietly. "Who?" I moved forward. "Stay sharp. We're close." We found the camp at 1,100 hours. 3 tents, half collapsed under snow. Equipment scattered, laptops, sample cases, a portable generator still humming faintly. And blood. Everywhere. The snow was stained black-red, frozen in arterial spray patterns. Drag marks led from the tents into the trees. Claw marks gouged the ground. Gwen moved to the nearest tent. Her rifle up, she pulled back the flap. "Oh, God!" I stepped beside her. Inside was a woman, late 20s, university jacket. Her body was intact, but her eyes were open, staring at nothing. Her mouth was frozen mid-scream. But that wasn't the worst part. Her stomach had been cut open, from the inside. What the hell did this? Cross whispered. I stepped back, scanning the camp. Find survivors. Fast. Rivera checked the second tent. Empty. Gwen moved to the third. She stopped at the entrance. "Sarge, you need to see this." Inside the tent was a man. Alive. Barely. He was curled in a fetal position, shivering violently. His skin was gray, his lips cracked and bleeding. His eyes were sunken, hollow. Gwen knelt beside him, checking his pulse. He's in shock. Severe hypothermia. Dehydration. I leaned down. "Sir, can you hear me?" His eyes focused. Slowly. "You came..." "We're National Guard. We're here to extract you. What happened?" His lips moved, but no sound came out. Gwen pulled a thermal blanket from her pack, wrapping it around him. She pressed a heat pack against his chest. "Stay with us," she said. "We're getting you out." The man's hand shot out, gripping my wrist. His strength was shocking. "Don't let them hear you." "Who?" I asked. His eyes were wild. "The hungry ones." "What are they?" He started laughing. A broken, wet sound. We woke them up. His hand went limp. Gwen checked his pulse. "He's seizing." His back arched, his mouth opening wide. A sound came out, not a scream, not a word. A clicking noise. Crack, crack, crack. The same sound the creature made. Gwen scrambled back. "What's happening to him?" His eyes rolled back. His jaw dislocated with a wet pop. Then something moved under his skin. Shifting, writhing. Gwen raised her rifle. "Sarge." "Get back!" The man convulsed once more, then stopped. His body went still, too still. His head turned, slowly, and he smiled. We ran. No orders, no formation, pure instinct. The thing that had been a man lunged from the tent, its limbs elongating, bones snapping and reforming. It shrieked, that same layered, grinding sound, and came after us. Rivera fired without stopping. I heard rounds hit, saw flesh tear. It didn't matter. Cross trip went down hard. I grabbed him, hauled him up. "Move!" The creature was right behind us, its claws scraping the ground, that clicking noise growing louder. Then another scream answered it, from the left. Then another, from the right. We weren't being chased by one. We were being herded. "Trilene." I shouted. "Break for cover." We hit the forest at a dead sprint. The creatures followed. I could hear them behind us, multiple sets of footsteps, all moving in sync, coordinated, intelligent. Gwen vaulted over a log. Rivera slid under a low branch. Cross was right on my heels, his breath ragged. Then the clicking stopped. We all froze. Silence. I turned, scanning the trees. Nothing. "Where are they?" Cross whispered. Then I looked up. They were in the branches. 4 of them. Hanging upside down, limbs wrapped around the trunks, their heads tilted at impossible angles. Watching us. One of them opened its mouth and spoke in Rivera's voice. "So hungry." Yendi Part 2, 1,046 words. Part 3. They dropped. All at once. I fired before I thought. Full auto. The muzzle flash lit up the gray light, the recoil hammering into my shoulder. One of them took 3 rounds to the chest and staggered. Black fluid sprayed from the wounds. Not blood. Something thicker, oily. It screeched and kept coming. "Aim for the head." Rivera shouted. He fired. Single shots. Controlled. 1 round punched through a creature's skull. It dropped mid-stride, twitching, limb spasming. But the others didn't stop. Gwen threw herself behind a tree as claws raked the bark, sending splinters flying. She came around the other side, firing her sidearm point-blank into the creature's face. It shrieked and recoiled, its jaw hanging loose. Cross was on his back, kicking at one that had him pinned. Its mouth opened wide, too wide, jaw unhinging like a snake's. I put 2 rounds through its temple. It collapsed on top of him. He shoved it off, gasping. "Go! Go!" I shouted. We ran again. The forest blurred around us. My lungs burned. The cold seared my throat with every breath. Behind us, the clicking resumed. Crack, crack, crack. Rhythmic, relentless. They were following, but they weren't rushing. They were pacing us. We broke through into a clearing. A frozen lake stretched out before us, covered in snow. The surface was flat, white, endless. "Across!" Rivera yelled. "We can see them coming." We hit the ice at full speed. The cold bit through my boots. My legs screamed. The ice groaned under our weight, deep cracks echoing across the expanse. Halfway across, Gwen stopped. "Wait!" I turned. "What?" She was staring back at the Trilene. The creatures stood at the edge of the forest. All of them. 7, maybe 8. They didn't move, just stood there, watching. Cross raised his rifle. Why aren't they coming? Then I felt it, a vibration. Under my feet, the ice shifted. No, I whispered. The vibration grew stronger. The cracks spread, spiderwebbing out from where we stood. Gwen looked down. Oh, God! The ice gave way. The water was agony. It punched the air out of my lungs. The cold was a living thing, crushing me, squeezing my chest. I couldn't breathe, couldn't see. I kicked, clawed upward, broke the surface gasping. Cross. Rivera. Here. Rivera's voice close. I spun, treading water. My gear was dragging me down. I shrugged off my pack, let it sink. Cross surfaced 10 feet away, choking, thrashing. I got you. Gwen swam toward him. Her stroke strong despite the cold. The edge. I shouted, get to the edge. We swam hard. The current pulled at us. There was a current. I realized the lake wasn't frozen solid. There was water moving underneath. We dragged ourselves onto the ice shelf, crawling, shaking violently. Hypothermia was already setting in. I could feel my fingers going numb, my thoughts slowing. We need fire. Cross's lips were blue. Rivera pulled a flare from his vest, struck it. Red light exploded across the clearing. We huddled around it, the heat barely reaching to the cold. Can't stay here. Gwen's teeth chattered. I forced myself to stand. Across the lake, the creatures were gone, but I could still hear the clicking. Faint, distant, circling. We found shelter in a rocky outcrop half a click south. A shallow cave, just deep enough to block the wind. Rivera built a fire with shaking hands. The flames caught, grew. We stripped off our wet gear, wrung out what we could. Gwen checked everyone for frostbite. We're alive, she said quietly. That's something. Cross stared into the fire, his face hollow. They knew the ice was thin. What? They drove us onto it. They knew. Rivera nodded slowly. They're intelligent, coordinated. They hunt in packs. I sat against the cave wall, my rifle across my lap. What the hell are they? Gwen pulled a first aid kit from her vest. Inside was a waterproof pouch. She opened it, pulled out a folded piece of paper. I found this in the researcher's tent. I took it. It was a photocopy of a military document. Old, dated 1953. Partially redacted. Project Starvation classification. Top secret location. Boundary Waters, Minnesota. Initial trial successful. Subject exhibit enhanced aggression, physical transformation, and heightened sensory awareness. Metabolic rate increases exponentially. Hunger response is uncontrollable. Psychological degradation complete within 72 hours. Containment breach on redacted. Subjects escaped into wilderness. Recommend immediate termination protocol. Request denied. Study to continue under revised parameters. I read it twice. They made these things. Rivera looked over my shoulder. A weapons program. Cold War era. They were trying to create super soldiers. Gwen said. And it went wrong. Wrong. Cross's voice cracked. They're still out there. They've been out there for 70 years. I folded the paper. The researcher said they woke them up. The team was studying ecological behavior. Rivera said, they must have stumbled onto a nest. Or a den. Disturbed them. And now they're awake, I said. Silence. The fire crackled. Outside, the wind howled. And beneath it, faint but unmistakable. Crack, crack, crack. We kept watching shifts. I took first. The cave entrance framed a view of the forest. The trees swayed in the wind. Snow fell in shifting curtains. I thought I saw movement. A shape, tall, thin, standing just beyond the firelight. I blinked. It was gone. My radio crackled. Static. Then a voice. Halo 1, this is Command. Do you copy? My heart jumped. Command, this is Halo 1. We are stranded. Coordinates. Halo 1, you are ordered to abort mission. Return to LZ immediately. Negative. Command, we are under attack. I repeat, under attack by hostile. The voice cut out. Static roared. Then another voice came through. My voice. Help me, I'm so hungry. I threw the radio into the fire. Gwen woke me at 0300. We have to move. What? They're outside. I grabbed my rifle, moved the entrance. The forest was alive with movement. Shapes, dozens of them. Tall, hunched, moving between the trees in perfect synchronization. The clicking was everywhere now. A symphony of cracking joints and snapping bone. Cross was awake, his rifle trained on the entrance. How many? Too many, Rivera said. Gwen checked her ammunition. We have maybe 60 rounds between us. I looked at the fire. At my team. We make for the LZ, fast and loud. We don't stop for anything. They'll follow, Cross said. I know. We can't outrun them. I know. He met my eyes. Then what's the plan? I didn't have one, but I said it anyway. We survive. Yendi Part 3, 1,027 words. Part 4, we move before dawn. The fire died behind us, smoking embers swallowed by snow. I led. Rivera took rear. Gwen and Cross stayed tight in the middle. The forest was different now. The trees leaned inward, their branches forming a canopy so dense no light penetrated. The snow underfoot was ash-gray, packed hard, crunching with every step. And the silence, God, the silence. Not even wind, just our breathing, our footsteps. And the clicking, it came from all directions. Never close, never far. A constant, maddening rhythm that burrowed into my skull. Crack, 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 Cross whispered. They're all around us. Keep moving, I said. The GPS was dead. Water damage from the lake. We were navigating by compass and instinct, heading southwest toward where the LZ should be. But the terrain didn't match the map anymore. The forest had changed. Or we had. We found the first marker at 0600. A tree trunk, carved with the same symbols we'd seen before. But these were fresh. The wood was pale, sap still bleeding from the cuts. Gwen touched it. Someone did this recently. Who? Cross asked. Rivera scanned the area. Not someone. Something. I moved closer. The symbols formed a pattern. A warning, maybe, or a message. Then I saw what was nailed to the tree below the carvings. A hand. Human. Frozen. Gray. The fingers curled into a claw. A wedding ring still on one finger. Gwen turned away, her hand over her mouth. Cross stared. Why would they? Territory. Rivera said. They're marking it. Then we're inside it. I said. The clicking grew louder. Closer. Move. We ran. Not a tactical retreat. Not an organized withdrawal. Pure flight. The creatures came from every direction, crashing through the underbrush, their elongated limbs propelling them forward in bursts of unnatural speed. I fired blind, the rifle kicking against my shoulder. I didn't aim. Couldn't. Just pointed and pulled the trigger. One of them lunged from the left. Rivera pivoted, fired twice. It stumbled but didn't fall. Gwen threw a flashbang. The explosion was deafening. White light flared. The creatures shrieked, recoiling, clawing at their faces. We used the opening. Ran hard. The forest blurred. My heart hammered. My lungs screamed. Behind us, the clicking resumed. Faster now. Synchronized. Hunting. We broke into another clearing. But this one wasn't natural. It was a kill site. The ground was littered with bones. Hundreds of them, piled in mounds, arranged in circles, stacked against trees. Human bones. Animal bones. All picked clean. In the center stood a structure, not a building. Something organic, made of branches, bones, and frozen flesh woven together into a dome shape. A nest. Gwen stopped, her face pale. What is that? Rivera approached slowly, his rifle up. It's where they sleep. The entrance was a jagged opening, dark and hollow. The smell hit us, rotten copper and something sickly sweet. We need to destroy it, I said. With what? Cross asked. I pulled a thermite grenade from my vest. This. Rivera grabbed my arm. You throw that, every one of them will know where we are. They already know. I armed the grenade and tossed it inside. 3 seconds. We ran. The explosion was muffled, then roared. Heat and light erupted from the nest. Flames climbed into the canopy, black smoke pouring into the sky. The creature screamed, not from pain, from rage. They came faster now, no longer pacing, no longer toying. We ran to the forest. The heat of the burning nest at our backs, and the creatures closed in from every side. One leapt from the branches above. Gwen fired, clipped its leg. It crashed down, rolled, and kept coming on 3 limbs. Rivera shot it through the skull. It finally stopped. How many rounds left? I shouted. 10. Gwen. 12. Cross. 8. Rivera. I had 15. Not enough. Not nearly enough. We found high ground, a rocky slope leading up to a ridge. The terrain slowed the creatures. They had to climb, their limbs scrabbling on the ice-slick stones. We reached the top, turned and fired. Controlled bursts, aimed shots. One dropped, then another. But for every one we killed, 2 more appeared. Cross's rifle clicked empty. Out! He drew his sidearm. Gwen fired her last rounds, then pulled her knife. Rivera's rifle jammed. He cleared it, cursing. I kept firing. My magazine ran dry. I reloaded my last one. The creatures reached the top of the ridge. We stood back to back, weapons up. They circled us. 10, 15, 20. Too many. Their heads tilted, joints cracked. They smiled. Then they charged. Cross went down first. A creature hit him from the side, claws sinking into his shoulder. He screamed, swinging his knife wildly. I shot the creature in the head. It collapsed, but 2 more took its place. They dragged him off the ridge. His screams echoed, then stopped. No! Gwen lunged forward. Rivera grabbed her, pulled her back. He's gone. A creature slashed at me. I dodged, felt claws rake across my vest, tearing fabric. I fired point blank. It collapsed. My rifle clicked empty. I dropped it, drew my knife. Rivera was surrounded. He fought with his blade, fast and vicious. But there were too many. One grabbed his leg, another his arm. They pulled in opposite directions. He screamed. I heard the sound of tearing. Rivera's scream cut off. Gwen was beside me now, her knife in one hand, my arm in the other. We run, she said. Where? Anywhere. We ran. Yendi Part 4, 1,003 words. Part 5, we didn't make it far. Gwen stumbled, her leg giving out. She went down hard, gasping. I grabbed her, hauled her up. I got you. No, she said. Leave me. Not a chance. Her pant leg was torn, blood soaked through, dark, spreading fast. When? I asked. Back on the ridge. One of them got me. I pressed my hand against the wound. She hissed in pain. It's deep. I know. The clicking surrounded us now. Close. So close I could hear the wet sound of their breathing. Ragged, hungry. I pulled her into a crevice between 2 boulders. Tight. Hidden. We crouched there, pressed together, my knife in one hand, her hand in the other. The creatures moved past us. Slow. Searching. One stopped 3 feet away. Its head turned, scanning. Its nostrils flared. It smelled us. I held my breath. It stepped closer. Its hand, long, gray-clawed, reached into the crevice. I drove my knife into its wrist. It shrieked. I twisted the blade, pulled it free, slashed again. The creature recoiled, black fluid spraying. The others turned. Run. Gwen whispered. Not without you. I can't. Her eyes met mine. You have to tell them. What's out here? What they made. Gwen. Go. She pushed me. Hard. I stumbled out of the crevice. The creature saw me. And Gwen stood. She screamed, drawing them toward her her knife flashing. Go! I ran. Behind me, I heard her fighting. Heard her voice, defiant and fierce. Then I heard her scream. Then nothing. I don't know how long I ran. Minutes. Hours. The forest was a nightmare of shadow and snow. My vision blurred. My legs were numb. I fell. Got up. Fell again. The clicking followed. Faint now. Distant, but always there. I crawled. Hands and knees. My knife gone. My gear gone. Just me. And the cold. I thought I saw light. Sunlight. I crawled toward it. The trees opened. A road. I collapsed onto the asphalt, gasping, shaking. Headlights appeared. A truck. Civilian. It stopped. A man got out, rushed toward me. Jesus. Are you okay? I grabbed his jacket. Get me out of here. What happened? Were you in an accident? Please. He helped me into the truck. The heat inside was overwhelming. I couldn't stop shaking. He drove fast, glancing at me. I'm taking you to the hospital. You're in shock. I nodded, but I didn't speak, because in the rear-view mirror, I saw the tree lean behind us, and standing at the edge, half hidden in shadow, was one of them, watching. Yendi Part 5, 520 words. Part 6, the hospital lights were too bright. Voices around me, rapid and overlapping. Hands pulling at my clothes, checking vitals, wrapping blankets around me. Severe hypothermia. BP's low. Get him warm now. I couldn't focus. Couldn't think. All I saw were their faces. Rivera, Cross, and Gwen. Gone. A doctor leaned over me, shining a light in my eyes. Sergeant Hale, can you hear me? I nodded. You're safe. You're at Ely, General. What happened out there? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Sergeant, they're still out there. I whispered. Who? All of them. They kept me for 3 days. Treated the frostbite. Rehydrated me. Ran tests. On the second day, 2 men in suits came. No names. No badges. They sat across from me, silent, watching. Finally, one spoke. Sergeant Hale. Tell us what happened. I told them. Everything. When I finished, they exchanged a glance. You experience extreme environmental stress, the first man said. Hypothermia can cause hallucinations, paranoia. I know what I saw. Sergeant, your team is missing. We've sent recovery units. They found the camp, the bodies. But there's no evidence of what you're describing, because you're not looking. The second man leaned forward. We found this. He placed a file on the table. Project Starvation. You know what it is? I said, a defunct program, shut down in the 50s. Then what killed my team? Silence. The first man stood. You're being discharged tomorrow. You'll receive full medical leave and counseling. This incident is classified. You will not speak of it to anyone. People need to know. No one will believe you. He left. The second man lingered. For what it's worth, he said quietly, I'm sorry about your team. He stood, paused at the door. Stay out of the woods, Sergeant. Then he was gone. They discharged me the next morning. I walked out into a bright, cold day. The sky was painfully blue. I called a cab, went to a motel, sat on the bed, stared at the wall, and felt it, a gnawing emptiness in my chest. Hunger, not for food, for something else, something I couldn't name. I looked at my hands. They were shaking. I heard a sound, faint, distant, crack. I spun. Nothing, just the motel room, the TV, the hum of the heater. I was alone, but I didn't feel alone. I went back 3 weeks later. I had to. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. The hunger was growing, and the dreams. Every night, I dreamed of the forest, of running, of hunting. I drove north, took the same roads, past the same signs. I parked at the trailhead. The forest waited. I stepped inside. The cold wrapped around me. The silence pressed in. I walked deeper. The trees looked the same, but I felt different, The hunger was stronger now, sharper. I found the markings, the symbols carved into the trees. I touched them, and I understood. They weren't warnings. They were invitations. I kept walking. The forest grew darker, and I heard it, the clicking. Crack, 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 rhythmic, familiar. I stopped, turned. One of them stood behind me, tall, gray, starving, its head tilted, its mouth opened. Welcome home. It spoke in my voice, and I realized I was hungry too. Yendi Part 6, 673 words. Part 7. I don't know what happened next. Not fully. My memory fractures here, breaks apart like ice under weight. I remember pain, searing, deep, bone deep. I remember my body changing, joints popping, stretching, my spine arching, vertebrae cracking one by one. My skin pulled tight, then looser, then tight again. I remember screaming, but the sound that came out wasn't mine. It was layered, echoing, a chorus. I remember hunger, not metaphorical, not psychological. A physical need so overwhelming it erased everything else. Thought, reason, identity. I needed to consume. And then, clarity. I woke on the forest floor. Snow around me, blood on my hands. Not my blood. I stood. My body felt wrong. Too tall, too thin. My limbs bent at angles that should hurt, but didn't. I looked down. My hands were gray, the fingers too long, claws where nails should be. I opened my mouth and heard the sound. Crack, crack, crack. It was coming from me, from my joints, from inside my skull. I was one of them. I ran through the forest, faster than I'd ever moved. My body knew the way. Instinct, muscle memory. I reached the road, stepped onto the asphalt. A car approached. I tried to wave, tried to signal, but my arm moved wrong. My mouth opened, and the sound that came out was a shriek. The car swerved, crashed into the ditch. I heard screaming. The driver stumbled out, terrified, running, and I felt it, the hunger. I took a step toward him, then stopped. No, not this, not yet. I turned, ran back into the forest, and the others were waiting. They stood in a circle, watching. The clicking surrounded me. One stepped forward, taller than the rest, its body more elongated, its eyes fixed on me. It tilted its head and spoke, not with words, with intent. I understood. They were testing me, seeing if I was one of them, or still one of them. I stood still. The hunger gnawed, but I didn't move. The creature stepped closer. Its claw reached out, touched my chest, and I felt it, a connection, not physical, mental. I saw through its eyes, felt through its senses. I saw the forest as they did, a hunting ground, a territory, a home. I saw the memories, decades of them, centuries, the experiments, the soldiers, the transformations, the hunger that never stopped. And I saw the truth. They weren't monsters. They were us, humans twisted by science and starvation into something else. And they remembered every single one. The creature released me. Step back. The others close in. And I ran, not because they chased me, because I couldn't stay. I couldn't accept what I was becoming. I crashed through the forest, blind with panic. I had to get out, had to find help, had to stop this. But the hunger followed, growing, spreading, consuming. I found a cabin, remote, abandoned. I broke inside, collapsed on the floor, tried to think, tried to hold on to me, but it was slipping. I looked at my hands, gray, clawed. I looked in a broken mirror on the wall. My face stared back, but wrong. The skin was too tight, the eyes too large, the mouth stretched too wide, and when I opened it, I saw the teeth. Too many, jagged, hungry. I smashed a mirror, and I screamed, but the sound wasn't human anymore. I'm recording this now because I don't know how much time I have left. The hunger is winning. I can feel it. Every second, it whispers. It pulls. I've tried to resist, but I'm so tired, and the forest is calling. I hear them out there. The clicking. Crack, crack, crack. Waiting. If you're listening to this, you need to understand. The creatures in the boundary waters aren't just animals. They're not anomalies. They're a warning of what happens when we play God, when we try to weaponize nature, when we push too far. And they're still there, waiting, starving, evolving. They don't just kill, they convert. And once you're one of them, there's no going back. I tried to leave. I swear I tried. But every time I step toward civilization, the hunger surges. I see people and I don't see people. I see prey. I see meat. And I know that if I go back, I'll hurt someone. I'll kill someone. I can't let that happen. So I'm staying here, in the forest, with them. Maybe that's where I belong now. Maybe this is what I deserve. But you, listen to me. If you ever find yourself near the boundary waters, if you see the markers, the symbols, the warnings, turn around. Don't go in. Don't ignore the stories. Don't think you're safe, because you're not. And if you hear the clicking, if you hear that sound, crack, 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 run, and don't look back. Yendi Part 7, 854 words. Part 8 final. It's been 6 days. I can't feel my fingers anymore. Not because of the cold, because they're not mine. The cabin is dark. I haven't lit a fire. Can't risk it. The light draws them. And I don't trust myself anymore. The hunger is constant now. A living thing inside me, gnawing, clawing, demanding. I tried to eat regular food. I vomited it up within minutes. My body doesn't want it. It wants something else. Last night, I heard voices. A search party. National Guard, probably, looking for me. I hid, pressed myself into the corner, hands over my mouth, trying not to make a sound. But the clicking started. From my throat, involuntary. Crack, crack, crack. I bit down on my hand until I tasted blood. The voices moved away. I don't know if they heard me. I hope they didn't. This morning, I found tracks outside the cabin. Not mine. Theirs. They circled the building. Dozens of prints. They know I'm here. They're waiting for me to give in, to accept. And God help me, part of me wants to. Because the hunger is so overwhelming that anything would be better than this. I keep thinking about my team. Rivera, Gwen, Cross. They died fighting. They died human. I won't. I can feel it happening. Accelerating. My thoughts are slower. Fragmented. Words don't come as easily. But the instincts are sharper. I can smell things I couldn't before. Hear things miles away. I know where every living thing in this forest is. Every heartbeat. Every breath. And I want them. There's a family camping 2 miles south. I don't know how I know, but I do. I can hear the father setting up the tent, the mother calming the kids. They're laughing, and I'm standing at the window, staring in that direction. My hand is on the door. I didn't put it there. It moved on its own. I pulled it back, locked the door, dragged a chair in front of it, but I'm still standing here, staring south, listening, hungry. I won't do it. I won't. I won't. It's night now. The family is asleep. I can hear their breathing. Slow, deep, vulnerable. The door is open. I don't remember opening it, but I'm outside now, walking. The snow crunches under my feet. No, not feet. Not anymore. I look down. My legs have changed, elongated, joints reversed. I'm moving on all fours. Fast, so fast. The trees blur past, and I can't stop. I see the tent. Yellow, glowing faintly from a lantern inside. I'm 20 feet away. 15. 10. I can smell them now. Warm. Alive. My mouth opens. The clicking starts. Crack. 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 And then, stop. I stop 10 feet from the tent. Every muscle screaming. The hunger roaring. But I stop. I turn. And I run. Away. into the forest, deep, deeper than I've ever gone, into the dark, into the cold, and I scream, not a human scream, something else, a wail of rage and despair and surrender, and the forest answers. The creatures emerge from the shadows, all of them, surrounding me. The clicking rises, a symphony. Crack, crack, crack. They step closer, and I don't run. I can't, not anymore. This is the last thing I'll say, the last piece of me that's still human. My name is Sergeant Marcus Hale, Minnesota Army National Guard. I entered the Boundary Waters on January 14th, 2024. I lost my team, and I lost myself. If you find this recording, destroy it. Don't let anyone know what's out here, because if they do, they'll come looking, and that's exactly what it wants. The forest, the hunger, it's alive, and it's waiting for soldiers, for scientists, for anyone foolish enough to think they can control it. You can't. It controls you, and once it has you, it never lets go. I'm going deeper now, where no one will find me, where I can't hurt anyone. Maybe I'll die out here. Maybe I'll become something else entirely. I don't know, but I do know this. If you ever hear the clicking, if you ever see the symbols, if you ever feel the hunger, it's already too late. The creatures are watching me. Their eyes glow faint yellow in the darkness. I hear their voices, dozens of them, speaking in unison. Welcome home. And I realize they're not saying it to me. They're saying it through me, because I'm one of them now. I take a step forward. Then, another. The hunger surges, and I stop fighting. I let go, and the forest swallows me whole. The recording cuts off. 3 seconds of static. Then, faintly, in the background, crack, crack, crack. And, if you're still listening, I need you to do something. Don't go looking for me. Don't go into those woods. And whatever you do, don't trust the voices, because they sound like people. They sound like friends, like family, but they're not. They're just hungry. And so am I. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. Or don't. Either way, stay out of the Boundary Waters. Some places are marked for a reason, and some hungers never die.